Coming up on Network Africa, another wave of violent protests hit Tunisia as demonstrators defy government's threat of a wider crackdown. And Angola's president fights corruption, sacks the son of his predecessor. And landslides and flooding in Kinshasa, Congo kills 45 people and leaves thousands homeless. Hello and welcome to the program. I am BC Adebayo. Protesters across Tunisia have rallied for a third successive day as anger over the government's austerity measures spilled over into unrest. Police used tear gas against large crowds demonstrating against price rises affecting basic goods. The protests come after the announcement of an increase in value-added tax and social contributions in the budget. Prime Minister Youssef Chahid, however, condemned the protests, saying they are trying to weaken the state. So far, nearly 240 people have been detained and one person has died, while 49 police officers have been injured.
Tunisian demonstrators defy the threat of a security clampdown as they spill onto the streets of the capital and at least 4 other towns for a third night of violent protests fueled by economic hardship. Police fired tear gas to disperse crowds in Tunis and in Tebouba, a small town nearby where one protester was killed on Monday. The Interior Ministry said in a statement on Monday that the man had chronic breathing problems and died due to suffocation from inhaling tear gas. But the man's brother, Mohamed El Yefini, does not accept the ministry's version of events.
The authorities lied and said he died because of asthma and lack of oxygen due to tear gas. They said he had an incurable disease. The doctor in the hospital stated that my brother was not even wounded. I am the person who has illnesses. I suspect that they changed the medical background of me and my brother to pretend he was fragile to avoid compensation.
Other locals complain about the economic hardship the country faces, particularly for Tunisia's youth.
They increased income tax by 1%. If a father or a poor family loses 10 Tunisian dinar a month, that's 6 or 8 liters of milk that he cannot buy anymore.
While Tunisia is widely seen as the only democratic success story among the Arab Spring nations, it has also had 9 governments since then, none of which had been able to deal with growing economic problems. Demonstrations spiraled after the government hiked prices of staple foods and introduced new taxes at the start of the year to try to tackle a ballooning deficit and appease foreign lenders.
A Tanzanian flagged ship carrying a heading for Libya, carrying materials used for making explosives, has been seized by Greece's Coast Guard and its 8-member crew has been arrested. Some 29 containers with ammonium nitrate, non-electric detonators and 11 empty liquefied petroleum gas tanks were found on the vessel. Greek authorities say the vessel was detected sailing near the Greek island of Crete on Saturday. And in South Africa, public prosecutor Busisiwe Mqwebane has called for a broader scope of investigation into alleged state capture. This comes as President Jacob Zuma appointed a commission of inquiry to be headed by Deputy Chief Justice Raymond Zondo after a year of resistance. The commission seeks to find out whether the controversial Gupta family had undue influence on the state as a result of their closeness to President Zuma. Ms. Mqwebane says the State Capture Commission of Inquiry is not limited to the issues identified in the initial report and that terms of reference should be broadened. Meanwhile, the stampede at a college in South Africa has left 5 people injured after thousands of students tried to push through the campus gates to register for the new academic year. Capricorn College in Polokwane City in northern Limpopo province was forced to suspend registration following the stampede. Last month, South Africa's President Jacob Zuma announced free education for first-year university and college students, raising fears it would cause chaos during the registration. Let's turn our attention now to Angola, where President João Lourenco has sacked the son of his predecessor, José Eduardo dos Santos, as head of the country's sovereign wealth fund. José Filomeno dos Santos has been mired in controversy and was removed months after investigation over the $5 billion fund. Well, this is the second of the former president's children to be dismissed by Mr. Lourenco. Santos' daughter, Ms. Isabel dos Santos, was removed as head of the country's state oil company, Sonangol, last year. Carlos Alberto Lopez, a former finance minister, is now the new chairman of the Fondo Soberano de Angola. A senior lecturer at the Lagos State University and African Affairs analyst, Mr. Dapo Thomas, is here with us for more on this issue. Many thanks for coming to the program.
You're welcome.
So what do you make of this sack?
Well, I foresaw, I saw it coming in the sense that when the appointments were made by the president of his daughter Isabel and of the son, there was a lot of furore in town. To the point that it almost led to legal action. Some lawyers decided to go to court. So I saw it coming in that direction because I knew that the moment the president was replaced, there was going to be some kind of agitation and some kind of protestation against the installation of his children in strategic positions, particularly in some of these economic interest institutions. Unfortunately, I didn't see it coming so soon, in the sense that I was still expecting Lourenco to be basking in the fact that, look, this was an opportunity given to him by Dos Santos, and because he was the vice president of the party and former minister of defense. So I was expecting that it will still